We want to create a system that allows you to succeed in both areas, life and your enterprise. By the way, which one would you say is more valuable? Which one? That's not how most people live the game. Most people make it the enterprise. And as they make it the enterprise, they wake up and they have a tremendous amount of economic success if they're successful. And what's ironic is what makes you successful may not make you fulfilled. And so there's a big pull in our culture to go for what's most successful, what will reward you culturally with respect or acknowledgement or stars on your chart or economic rewards, thinking that will give us freedom. But how many of you have been very successful in business and not been free, i.e., your business, as it got more successful, demanded even more from you? How many have had this experience? Say aye. So what I want to really make sure that comes out of this is an evaluation of what your real gifts are that are going to fulfill you. Because many of you are living a script around your life that involves having an enterprise when really that may not be your true nature. That's not to say you can't do it. It just means you can do it and you'll be stressed out of your life, stressed out of your mind. And so one of the things we want to find out is how much of that is natural as a problem, how much of that is maybe unnatural. Unnatural meaning you're having problems right now that you shouldn't be having at this stage of development. Think about it. If a child is brand new and they have a problem with controlling their bladder, that's a natural problem, isn't it? But if you're 50 and you have this problem, you got a challenge. If a brand new business has a cash flow challenge, it's a problem, but it's a natural problem. If it's a business that's been around 5 or 10 years and it's got a cash flow problem, you got a real abnormal problem. Maybe you got a problem that's even life-threatening to the business. How many follow what I'm talking about here? Sometimes those problems have to do with the fact that you don't understand the stage of development you're in. The most important element is for you to be able to do this, to be able to establish, most importantly, where you really are in your life today. Where are you? And where do you really want to go? What's going to create this extraordinary life? And to look at it brand new. Because some of you right now, if you continue the direction you're going, are going to be successful and unfulfilled, unhappy, and stressed. Because once we get, into a dream, then that dream starts to take on a life of its own. It gives us juice. It gives us energy. But how many of you ever got the dream, achieved your goal, and then thought, is this all there is? How many have had this experience? Say aye. That's more painful than not even achieving it. Because now you've done everything, you've worked for that, and you're successful, and you're not happy. So for some of you, you're going to need to take a look at that. Michael Gerber, the guy that wrote the E-Myth, talks about why so many businesses, young businesses fail. And one of the things he says is most people are not really entrepreneurs, but they think that's what they should be. They think that's the sexy thing. That's the most attractive thing. That's the best answer. And what I say to you is you got to separate the vehicle from the outcome. What is it that's going to truly fulfill you? What is it that's going to give you that extraordinary life? What's going to make things magnificent on your terms, not somebody else's terms, not your father, your mother, your background? What is that really? Separate the vehicle, because there's many ways to get to that vehicle. I was here in town just the other day, and I met a gentleman over here, Steve Wynn's a good friend of mine, who started, who basically built most of Las Vegas. And he built just recently, the Wynn Casino, not a few years back, $2.7 billion hotel. The most expensive individual building ever personally financed, individually financed. To give you an idea, the first estimates on the rebuilding of the World Trade Centers were 1.7 billion, 2.6 billion for a hotel. Right? This man has the ability to take large risks, and he has the ability to really succeed in a major way. But I bring that up because I was in town, and for our new home, we have these hot springs. We're getting some really large crystals, and there's a guy in town who has this crystal shop, right? But you got to make an appointment to see the guy. And it's unbelievable. So I get to know him and talk to him and find out he's great friends with Steve. He's been skiing with Steve for 20 years. This guy used to have this business. He sold the business, didn't actually make that much money, but he was tired of the stress of the business. And he said, I'm just going to do what I love. And what I love to do is ski every day. So what he did was he started this little crystal business, made plenty of money, in his little business, had set aside some money from his previous business, and he gets up every day and skis, has a blast, and he has this unbelievable lifestyle. Because, he's Steve Wynn's guest everywhere. He flies on a Gulfstream, doesn't have to pay for it. Right? Doesn't pay the insurance, doesn't have to pay for the fuel, doesn't worry about maintenance, managing it, or anything. And he's telling me about all these things he does in his life. And he has a billion-dollar lifestyle, billionaire's lifestyle. But he's structured his life in a way that's fulfilling, where he has time for his grandkids, where he has time for his wife, where he has time for his passions. But he just does it in a different way. He had this big dream he said of making this gigantic business, and all it did was stress him out. Now, I'm not saying that's the answer for you, but I'm saying sometimes you got to reevaluate what's going to really make you fulfilled. The more you can cultivate that sense of wealth, that sense of abundance in you, the more you can feel that sense of joy, the more easy it's going to be for you to do financially. Because you're not going to be in this scarce, fearful mode. Now, that's not enough by itself. You can have this great sense of abundance and do the wrong mechanics and be a disaster. True or false? But if I had to have an area to get you started with, you want to have the emotion and psychological strength, because that's going to carry you through when the mechanics are boring or frustrating, or when things aren't working out. Your emotion, your psychology is what will carry you. It'll get you to keep doing it. Everyone knows, if you've done these studies, Dr. Seligman is very famous for doing studies on optimism. And in those studies, you know what he found out? People that are pessimists are much more realistic. They're much more accurate. If you give them a test and you ask them to look at something and give you a size measurement of it, or to evaluate their own success or failure at a task, in every study Seligman's done, he did it at the University, I think Pennsylvania if I remember correctly originally, what he found was that optimists always see themselves as doing better than they really did. They basically BS themselves. What happens to pessimists, they're 10 times more accurate. But here's what he found out. What he found out is because the people who are accurate never push themselves because they know it's never going to work anyway. Whereas the optimist sees it better than it is, so they keep doing it. Because they have the illusion they did well, I'll do even better next time. And because of that optimism, they did it more often. And so optimists succeed at a 4 to 5-fold, depending upon the task, result ultimately beyond anything that a pessimist will do, and they're not as accurate. All that's a big way of saying is, if you can develop a psychology of resilience in yourself, you don't have to be optimistic or fake. You can be real. The realness is, whatever shows up, you are larger than anything that can happen to you. You are larger than any financial challenge you could ever face. Who here has gone through a very tough financial time where you didn't know how you were going to pull it off, but eventually you did? How many have done this before? Say I. How many have had this happen more than once in your life? Say I. Then the true history could guide you to know you can get through this and not let you be overwhelmed by the moment. But also the gratitude can put you in that sense of wealth. Fijians are wealthy. Whenever I bring friends there, we have 325 acres and 3 miles of ocean frontage. It's unbelievable. But you go up these 2 villages, and my friends initially will say, well, look at their houses, look at their homes, and they don't really have electricity, they don't have this, but they don't feel poor. It's your identity. The way you define the wealth determines whether you're wealthy or not. So are there enough things for you, knowing that 2/3 of the planet lives on $2 a day, that you could get yourself to really feel grateful, yes or no? Yes. How much of your life do you get benefits from today that you never had to create? Think about it. Like I said, the roads you ride on, the library, the books you didn't have to write, right? The internet that you can access in seconds and get answers to just about anything. The people in your life that you didn't have to raise, but are there for you. Think about all the different aspects of your life. If you want to be wealthy, all you have to do is associate. So before we do the financial part, because financial independence is different than wealth. Wealth is that state of mind. Financial independence is being in that position where you don't ever have to work again. That if you work, you do it because you really want to. Now, I'll give you a clue. If you get financially independent and you don't work, you'll be miserable. I can't tell you how many friends I have that sold their company, made $50 million. One man made almost $1 billion, and was really excited for a while. But after a while, I was like bored. His vehicle of his business gave him a sense of contribution, and he was always growing, figuring out how to solve problems, and he had all the people he was connected to in the business, all the employees and friends and associates, and he was significant because he was doing something worthwhile. And he had tremendous certainty because he knew the business, and also variety because it's always changing. And now he had this money. So the real secret is to be financially free, to be financially independent. You want to get where you never have to work again, but you do. Because you want to. That's when life gets very cool. When you don't have to work, but you want to, you often work harder. I enjoy my life. I don't have to work. That's one of the most killer experiences in life. So I want to tell you, I'm not just saying this as some little positive thinking technique. I'm telling you, this is the secret, the real secret, to shift it inside of you and to add the real value.